You are listening to the E2C Network, where the Auburn family speaks.
War Eagle Auburn family, and welcome back to Inside the Jungle, your source for Auburn men's basketball analysis and discussion. And today we have another W to talk about. We are back, and we had some technical difficulties with our last podcast. Couldn't get out about the Morehead State game. But this one will be a fun one. I'm excited about this. A big victory, 93-65 for your Auburn Tigers over Louisiana-Monroe. It's moved to 2-0 on Friday night. And to do that, to talk about it, to discuss all things basketball and all things Auburn, I brought my dad back. Dad, that was a fun one. That was a good one.
It was a fun one. And I don't know what happened. The last podcast, it was a really good podcast too. And we even predicted 93-65 win over Monroe. And if you missed the last podcast, it's kind of your own deal.
Yeah. We actually predicted that exact thing, guys. We predicted 93-65. We'd get off to a slow start and then blow them out in the second half. No,
what we did, that was fun.
Yes. It was a good game. It's what you wanted to see from Auburn. I think you saw the new coming and the fact that this is a young team early in this game, and maybe a little bit of taking the opponent too light early, but then really coming out and showing who you're made of. And saw a bunch of players show out today, especially in the second half. But I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I do want to get into it. And we were talking before we came on. It's hard as a coach to take a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old kids and show them the film from the ULM LSU game, which LSU won by like 40, and have them take ULM real seriously. And they obviously did not. They came out slow. And experience of being in locker rooms and games like that, I would not have wanted to have been in that halftime locker room. I'm sure that it was not a pleasant place to be.
You're right. And I think you're exactly right on what that was probably not the right locker room to be in at the time if you're just a spectator or a player with Bruce. But no, you did see a slow start. And I think we're going to see that a lot with this Auburn basketball team because they're young, they're inexperienced, and a lot of these guys are newcomers and they haven't really played with each other that much. With only 3 or 4 guys playing today that have actually played in an Auburn uniform before. With Allen still out.
Yep.
So you kind of saw a little bit of the struggles early. ULM came out, give them credit. First half, they came out firing on all cylinders. They were making shots. They were doing things that they weren't doing when they played LSU. But to come out in the second half, do what you did, dominate the way that you did, really shows the excitement behind this Auburn basketball team. And I'm excited for the future.
I am too. I thought that was I thought they came out slow, but put it together after halftime and did what they were supposed to do and dominate in a really cool environment, or what seemed like a very cool environment to be in. And watching the kids, they looked like they were having fun in front of that home crowd on a Friday night. Yeah,
you're exactly right. I'm really, really a good atmosphere on that Friday night, first Friday night game of the season. Hopefully the jungle and the arena continues to be that kind of atmosphere for every game to come. But let's dive right into some stats and some game play and notes that we have here. Let's just cut straight to the chase. How about number 10?
I'm telling you, he's the best player on the court anytime he steps on the court. In fact, I saw a tweet from Jay Billis yesterday who said, if you haven't watched Auburn's Jabari Smith play, go watch it. You're welcome.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Jabari Smith, he really is. And he showed that true natural basketball ability and potential tonight, or in this game. He went for 23 and 10. He was spectacular. 3 of 5 from 3, 7 of 12 from the field. Really showed why he is the highest ranked recruit in Auburn basketball history. And you just watch the kid play, and he's 6'10", and the things he could do in the offensive end, and his, the way he kind of moves, and it's like, man, an NBA team's going to really like him next year.
He's special. The pull up on a one-man fast break, drove down, pulled up at the 3-point line because, as I would, defenders were backing up and pulled up in the 3-point line. And if you've never tried that, running full speed and stopping and maintaining your balance and going straight up instead of leaning into the shot and drilling that shot was spectacular. But the thing I like about Jabari, I think the most, is he looks like he loves playing for Auburn.
He does.
He gets excited when somebody makes a defensive play. KD made a defensive play where he knocked the ball out of the guy's hand like 3 different times and it finally went off the guy. And Jabari was excited about that as KD was. But to see a kid that, look, he's a pro. He's going to be a pro next year. Don't even think about him coming back. So, but to see him really enjoying his teammates and the atmosphere and just playing for Auburn really was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of the times with those guys, just like we've discussed in the past, with those kind of recruits and with those kind of players with that talent and that potential, and we all know Jabari knows that he will be a top 10 pick this year, if not top 5, if not higher. And he knows that, and we all know that he's the best player on the court, but to see a guy that has that kind of ability still love the game and love playing and love his teammates and getting so excited, just like you said, I mean, it's amazing.
Some of those guys can be a prima donna. He does not seem to be like a prima donna.
He does. And then, we'll stop, talking about Jabari here for just a second. I love talking about Jabari, and he's a great player and all, but this was a great team effort, with Wendell Green, starting point guard, going for 15, and then off the bench, guys like KD Johnson and Chris Moore having both career days, with Johnson for 18 and Chris Moore was 16. Johnson 4 for 5 from 3. I mean, it was a great game, Jabari, with 23 and 10, but you look all over the stat sheet, you're like, there's hard to find a guy that really just didn't play well. If you look, maybe Devin, because he just didn't make one, but he's gonna make one, or he's gonna make some when they drop. So it's hard to look at this game at the stat sheet right now and just go, I don't really know, but it's promising as an Auburn fan, and I'm excited. But let's talk about this game. Really was the story of the second half. It just shows like it's better to finish than it is to start. And,
I think what did we else? Let's
stay away from that.
It's hard to do a positive Auburn podcast when we've just witnessed the Mississippi State Auburn game. But let's talk about the second half. We outscored them 56-26.
Yeah.
That's kind of what LSU did, but LSU did it in both halves.
Yeah.
We just didn't do it in the first half. But you mentioned KD and Chris Moore. KD, he's more fun to watch play than I think most guys that I've seen play there. He gets more excited about defense than he does offense, and he is just he would drive me crazy trying to go against him. He's the player that the opposing teams probably hate, but you love because he is just into it, and he's a great player. He's going to be a great player.
I was really excited for KD. Struggled with fouls early, just like a lot of our guys struggles with fouls. And we'll get into the officials here in a little bit because this game wasn't very well officiated on both sides. But I will say KD, I mean, played a career. He had a true career day with 18 points, 4 for 5 from 3. 3 assists. That's exactly what you want from a guard like that coming off the bench, and that's exactly what you want with a guy who's as young as he is, and he's playing his second game as an Auburn Tiger right now. Really excited for KD, and then with Chris Moore, going 5 of 9. I bet his advanced stats. I don't know if you've seen, Dad. And there may be a few people that have seen. Somebody go find like advanced stats on Chris Moore, like his efficiency numbers and plus minus and that sort of thing. They're absurd. They're unbelievable. They're like some of the best we've ever seen at Auburn.
Yeah,
and it's just weird. He's really improved so much. We talked about Kyle and I talked about how we want to see Chris improve so much this offseason. And I really think he did. I really think he's got a chance to make that Allen type of jump.
Flanagan jump.
Flanagan jump, just without like needing to make that jump like Auburn needed it last year. But I mean, I really think he has. So shout out to those guys. And Wendell also played great. He grabbed 7 rebounds. I mean, that's the smallest dude on the court.
He's the smallest guy on the court. Yeah, I thought about that too. Real quick on Chris Moore, he went 6 of 6 from the free throw line, and his free throws are not the prettiest things in the world, but he makes them. Yeah. And he's confident when he steps up to the line and he drills it. But also on Chris Moore, it's just I keep having to tell myself in high school he was an all-state center in high school. He played the 5, and he came to Auburn and knew he couldn't play the 5. And the fact that he's done this in a year and gone from playing the 5 to playing the 3, which is something you did in from junior high to high school. I did. And it's a hard transition when you're playing back to the basket the whole time, and all of a sudden you're playing facing the basket on the wing. It's different, and he has done a great job of it. Yeah,
you're exactly right. That's a hard transition, and he's made the most of it. He's improved so well. I'm excited for his future, man. I don't think he's done improving.
No. Makes it sky's the limit.
Yeah. I'm gonna go over like team comparison over here to just team stats. Okay. This is where we'll talk about the officials. Way too many stoppage. Way too much stoppage. Way too many free throws. As a fan, I'm sitting here watching a free throw. I don't want to watch a free throw contest. I want to watch these kids play basketball. And with Auburn shooting 32 free throws in the game and ULM shooting 24 free throws in the game, it just wasn't a very fun game to watch. By the way, it was officiated, with foul troubles. Both teams, Kessler had 4. He picked those up quick. Yeah. Some of those were kind of questionable. Jalen had 4. KD had 4. A bunch of other guys had 2. With ULM, their number 24, Harrison, had fouled out of the game with 5. And then Howell had 4, and a bunch of their guys had 3, and some had 2. It was just like no. Okay. I don't want to watch a free throw shooting contest, nor do I want to watch the officials blow their whistle so much.
So I was trying to figure it out during the game because they're like you said, there's no rhythm to a game like that. It's standing at one end, shooting free throws. After the free throws are done, somebody commits a foul. We walk to the other end and shoot free throws. And it was awful. And I was trying to think of how I could best describe it to somebody who maybe didn't watch it. And yes, both teams were physical. There were fouls, but at some point you've got to adjust. The officials have got to adjust what's going on, and we've got to adjust to what the officials are doing. But so I have a 5-month-old puppy at home, a new puppy, great dog. But if she is not asleep, which is not often, or eating, which is all the time, she wants your attention. She's in your lap. She's looking at you. She's trying to get you to throw toys with her or play tug of war. And I thought, if you gave my puppy a whistle, there is absolutely no difference between her and the officials that officiated that game the other day. Yeah. It was like they were abused as children and wanted attention. And it's not about the officials. Most good officials will tell you
it's not about the officials.
If you don't even if you don't think about me or don't see me in the game, that's what I want. And they did not. They wanted to be seen. They wanted to blow their whistle. It was like 3 Teddy Valentines out there.
We love Teddy Valentine here on this podcast. We have a very, very strong relationship.
That's an ACC official.
That's an ACT type of thing. That's the Carolina that we talking.
Hey Auburn fans, I want to take a quick timeout from this episode to bring your attention to something very special. Here at the E2C Network, we pride ourselves on bringing you the best content for Auburn fans out there. And best of all, it's free to you. But just because it's free doesn't mean there aren't costs, especially when you have a library of hundreds of podcasts, videos, blogs, and more. Many of you have reached out and asked how you can support this network in the past. Well, now I have your answer. It's called the E2C Network Booster Club, over at patreon.com/E2C Network. There you'll find a membership monthly reward system where you can sign up for as little as $1 and get different perks at different tiers. Some of those perks include things such as apparel, eligibility to join us on future podcasts, recognition as an E2C Network booster, exclusive communications, and bonus content that is available nowhere else. If you love this network and want to help us keep producing podcasts like this one, please head on over to patreon.com/E2C Network to join the E2C Network Booster Club. You can also get there by going to our website, e2cnetwork.com/support. Whether you decide to join or not, we are still so appreciative that you would support us by just listening and being here, because each and every one of you is part of our E2C Network family. Well, that's it. Timeout's over. Let's get back into the episode.
But yeah, let's talk about another one of these stats, with the guys like that we talked about with KD and Chris, and then guys like Jalen coming off the bench. When you outscore a team on the bench points by 22 and you win by 20, that's the difference in the game right there. We out rebounded them by 9. We had a little bit more steals than them. We had more blocks than them. We passed the ball. There's no big difference in second chance points, or no big difference in points off of turnovers or turnovers at all. But the bench points, you saw when Louisiana-Monroe brought out their bench and we brought our bench, it was a completely different game.
Completely different. Mm-hmm.
So, that's a game-changing stat right there, is the bench points. It was really just the big-time career days from KD and Chris.
When you have a bench that includes KD, Jalen Williams, who struggled in that game, but is going to be, like I said, he's a Swiss Army knife. He can do it all. And you've got Chris Moore and the guys like that come off the Cardwell, who played well. And dude, I love watching him in a full jungle. It's more fun than he just gets me fired up. But when you can pull those guys off the bench, and by the way, during the Barbie era, that group would be an amazing group. Mm-hmm. We'd have been like, wow, we've got really good players. And these are guys coming off the bench. Probably, I would imagine Williams is probably a pro. Johnson is probably a pro. Chris Moore is probably a pro, and they're coming off our bench.
Yeah.
It really helps, because a lot of teams don't have that. The SEC will. We'll get into the SEC, and we'll find other teams that benches will play just as well as ours, and we'll get to see how good we really are. But yeah, that bench points was the huge deal.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was. I'm excited about this team. Every single game, I feel like we're going to get better. We're going to improve. We're going to see this true potential. I don't even think we're going to see the max potential that this team could have until maybe March. I really don't, because I think this team is going to have to mesh really well. I think they may have to take some losses on the shin to do that.
Oh yeah.
They're going to play some tough opponents in the SEC. They're going to get one of their best players back in December or January, and they're going to have to mesh together. And, as 2 games in, we're looking at it like we're 2-0, this is great right now, but I think we have to settle down. I think we have to appreciate how well we are playing right now. Don't get me wrong, but I think we also have to settle down. Like, I don't think we need to overreact, is what I'm trying to say.
I agree. There are some weaknesses. There are some things that we did not do well, especially in the first half. We didn't rebound very well. We didn't defend, which was kind of weird for me, because after watching us come out and play that first game and defend so well, in the first half of this last game with Louisiana-Monroe, they were getting straight line drives on us. And I thought, oh boy, this is it's not good when they're doing it. And so we've got to be able to bring that defensive intensity from the opening gun to the end of it. I did like what Bruce did and went to that 1-3-1 and put Jabari at the top of that 1-3-1.
I like that.
That's a nightmare if you're an offensive team. Then you get somebody
like Jalen on the back end of that 1-3-1, a guy who could run the baseline like that. I really like that. I like the length of Jabari at the top. I like how we trap. because we could put Zep and KD on each side.
It's a
and
great
love
defense.
that.
It's a great
love that.
defense.
Yeah.
As long as we're able to rebound out of it, which is the struggle with a lot of zones. If we can rebound out of it, that's a really good defense to play, because Jabari on the top of that 1-3-1 is just stupid. It's
I like it.
Not fair.
I like it a lot. All right, so we'll wrap this game up right now, and I'm just going to pick player of the game. I know we try and like do two different players, and we talked about this pre-recording right now, but I think it's an obvious pick, but I think there's guys that you could very well pick out and say like, this guy was the difference. This guy was the difference. This is the reason why they were the difference. But I think the obvious choice, and then I'm going to go with player of the game, is the best player on the floor, Jabari Smith. I mean, last night was his coming out party. As much as he played well in the exhibition, he played decently well before he got hurt at the Moorhead versus Moorhead State. Everybody knows he's going to play well. This was his like, okay, I'm here. Let's play basketball. It's basketball season.
23-10
basketball. 23-10. I mean, that's as good as it gets.
He's fantastic, and yes, I want to try to pick somebody different. So, to me, yes, Jabari's the best player on the floor, and without him, we probably don't win that game. So to be a little contrarian, a little different on that, I've gone back and forth between KD Johnson and Chris Moore, but I really like what Chris Moore did the other day. He ended up with 16 points, 4 boards, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, attacked the basket. And I mean, attacked the basket, didn't settle for 3-pointers, just went by his guy and got to the rim, and finished when he got there. So I'll throw Chris Moore in the hat as the player of the game for the ULM game.
I like that. And if I didn't pick Jabari, because I was trying to think who you would pick if I were to pick Jabari, because I agree Jabari was the player of the game, but I probably would have gone with Chris Moore as well. When you said he attacked the basket, fiercely attacked the basket. He is attacking the basket. Scored 16, 4 boards, perfect from the free throw line. Just like I said earlier, his advanced stats are nuts.
Yeah,
they're straight up ballistic.
Yeah,
and it's just because he does everything so well and he does everything so right. And I want him to continue to improve and continue to do what he's doing.
I do too. I would like to see him get a little bit better on the defensive end. That's why I struggled with my choice there, because I think KD provides that defense. But just the fact that we haven't seen that out of Chris Moore yet, and he played a great game. If we can keep him doing that and KD doing that off the bench and get Jalen going a little bit more, those bench points that you brought up earlier will continue to be like that.
Rise and just wait until you get Alan Flanagan on that bench right now, because he'll have to start off on the bench when he gets minute restrictions. Or just put Alan Flanagan on that bench.
Flanagan, he's the SEC Player of the Year.
SEC Player of the Year candidate right there,
coming off the bench. That would be nice. I when he comes back, we'll see how many minutes he can get. But he's the best. He's one of the best players on the team.
Yeah.
Jabari's the best player.
That's the best way to say that right now.
Yeah.
Especially after the way Jabari played.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll kind of wrap this up right now. We'll kind of discuss a little bit about the at USF game on Friday, November 19th. That'll be played at 7:00, I believe, at USF. It'll be our first game away from Auburn Arena. I think it'll be a good first test. I want to see, I kind of hope this USF crowd shows up, get this young, team that hasn't really meshed together well to try and play in front of a crowd, even though they will be extremely more talented than this USF team. They won't, I want them to be tested as much as possible before we go into a very, very deep and very talented Southeastern Conference.
All right. So I've looked at a little bit of USF. I got on their website before we got on the show tonight. They played yesterday. I think that was that. Yeah, yesterday against Georgia Southern and Sun Belt team, and Georgia Southern beat them by 12 in Tampa. The crowd that you're talking about was 2,000 people.
Okay.
So
That's
about a
really
fifth of what? No, it's not what you're talking about. They've got one 7-footer. Biggest guy on their team's the 7-footer. His first name's Russell. I won't try to pronounce his last name, but he ended up with 3 points and 9 boards. They had a guy score 18 coming off the bench. DJ Patrick was 6 of 13 from 3 and had 18 points. But here's a stat for you. They in the second half of their game against Georgia Southern, they shot 7% from the 3-point line. Not 17, not 70. They went 1 of 14 from 3 in the second half at home. Ended up losing. So they got outscored. Georgia Southern was up 8 at half. 33-25, and in the second half, Georgia Southern beat them 20-16. They scored 16 second half points.
And Auburn scored 56 against ULM.
Yeah.
All right,
I don't know.
I don't want to I'm not one to, because just like we saw, when we said last podcast, I know I didn't reach out, but
no, we said we would win 93-65 last podcast. Come on now,
but we did say I don't want to look over this team because I know LSU just beat them by 40, and looky here, they came out and beat us by 2 in the first half.
Played us
so
tough.
I don't want to overthink, because you said they went 1 of 14, they'll go 13 of 14 against Auburn.
That is a possibility. There were not a lot of fouls called in their game the other day, but maybe we can get those guys. They caused 18 turnovers, so I guess I haven't seen them play.
Yeah.
But against Georgia Southern turned the ball over 18 times, and Georgia Southern only went 1 of 10 from 3 in the second half. Maybe their rims are messed up in Tampa.
Maybe we need to go check that out first before we go shoot around.
But by the way, I think I mentioned this to you the other night. You asked, why in the world are we going to play South Florida in Tampa? Bruce Pearl has ulterior motives. The SEC tournament will be held in that building later on this year. So it gives us a chance to see what the rims do look like, what the sight lines are like, get a feel for, let's get the name of the arena, the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida. So, yeah, they had 2,200 people there the other day.
I see. That's not what I'm looking for. I want them to play in front of a crowd, because I don't want them to not play in front of a big crowd, because they're not going to play in front of big crowds at the Bahamas. It's going to be a huge Auburn crowd when they go to Atlanta, play Nebraska. I don't want them to have to play their first big crowd when they have to go to an SEC school.
I think they may play in front of a crowd at St. Louis. That may be the first crowd we actually get.
That's late December, right?
Late December. Yeah, right before. And who do we open up with in SEC play?
I believe LSU. I believe they're at home.
LSU's tough. They had, again, they beat a team that we just played, beat them by about 60. So,
that's right.
Anyway.
That's right. Yeah, you do open up with LSU at home, but then you go to South Carolina.
Not worried about that one.
Yeah.
South Carolina just got beat by
the first
Princeton.
big-time road game that you're going to have, you'll be in Coleman Coliseum across the state.
And look, usually I would laugh at that, but I watched some highlights from their first game, and that their student section was actually full. I've never seen that student section full in all the years that I've been around watching basketball. I've never seen Coleman Coliseum full at all. And they had a full student section. So, and when Auburn comes, basketball in this state is much better now.
Much better. Like 5 years ago, we would have laughed at that. Yep. That's right. Well, we'll wrap this one up right here. We will have a next podcast out, hopefully sometime next weekend after the USF game. Wish everybody a great week. Don't pay attention to what's happening at the football stuff. Because
at least we're not the guys.
It is basketball season.
Podcast. It's basketball season.
It is basketball season. We are a basketball school, and that's what we are here for, to talk Auburn basketball. So
yeah, the poor guys on the E2C network that have to do the football are not going to have a fun day talking about that game.
No, they're not. But we will wrap this one up right here. Dad, go ahead, do what you always do at the end of these podcasts.
I tell people to hit me up on Twitter. I haven't been hit up yet, but it's probably because that last podcast got
dig it up
out into the ether somewhere. I'm on Twitter at IamCTO. So hit me up. Let's talk about what happened in the last ball game and look forward to South Florida if you have questions. That's
right. Or you can hit me up or at Gray Oldenburg on Twitter or at Grayo21 on Instagram. And thanks for joining me, Dad. We will be back next weekend. And War Eagle.
Always enjoy this. War Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode on the E2C Network. On your way out, I want to remind you to stop by e2cnetwork.com. It's your one-stop shop for all our content across our podcast, YouTube channel, and much more. To stay up to date with us, make sure you're following social media accounts such as Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. While our content here may always be Auburn sports heavy, if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. War Eagle.